understand. Good morning, friends. Welcome to GoOnlineTrainings.com. Yesterday, we were talking about incremental loading. It is also called as a delta loading. So we are using lookup transformation. So in the lookup transformation, what is that we were using? We were using first lookup to compare the primary keys. And if the primary keys are matching, and we are taking that matched data into second lookup, in that we were completely matching all the columns, right? So then unmatched data, we're going and updating the OLEDB command, but we were not updating here. We were using, execute SQL task. We're storing all the data into the staging, right? So the no match data directly we're inserting. So here to improve the performance, I told you, so to use execute SQL task. That was the thing we had done it yesterday. Let me just open this table, and I wanted to open the database. Which database? Company incremental loading. So one database. This is the source. This is the destination, and I have three tables now, right? So let me use this. Use the company database. Always you write like this. So which database you would like to point? Always you can execute. Now write. So what is the source table? Source table is employee table. We have this data. The next table is called select star from. Destination table is this, right? So you have the data. That is fine. Now I wanted to tell you, so this guy is updating the data by joining this. This is also, we have done it. And all the data we were loading into a staging, right? So we are not updating, we are putting into a staging, a temporary table where we are able to, putting all the data. Now here we're able to update it. Now, in sometimes what people would ask you, they will be able to modify this. Okay, they will be able to modify this database. So what is that they will have? They will have like that. So let me take the scripts like Control C and Control V. So what is that they will say? This is my source database, that is fine. Okay, source table is also fine. But in the destination table, they will give you some starting this one. Okay. Start date and end date, money, not null. This is fine. So in the dim timetable, normally what they give you, they will give you all these columns as it is, right? Control C, and I'm talking about dim employee. So they will give you this, plus they will be able to give you two more columns extra. What is that? Insert date and time. Okay, so they would like to give this. When this data got inserted, they wanted to go, and when the data got updated also, they wanted to give. Clear? So this will be a null column. Okay, so I wanted to drop the table. So how to drop? Drop table name. You can drop like this. Now Control Z. Now this is, I have dropped it. I'm creating the table with two more extra columns, insert date and update date. When the data is being inserted, when the data is being updated. So this is also sometimes, not every time. Sometimes they'll ask you to change, or ask you to do that. So employee ID, employee name, salary, I can get it. But how to get insert date, how to get update date, we will get it. So if you wanted to get a new column, so I'm inserting the data here, right? So whenever you insert the data, now you have inserted date and update date, right? Insert date, we have to get it. If you wanted to get a if you want to get a new date, so which column I can use? I can use derived column. I can derive a new column. So lookup no match data. So what I do, I take and I connect this. So I will go here. So I wanted to take a column. What is the column name? Column name is called insert date. So what you do? Control C. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to derive a new column because I cannot get it from the source because I don't have these columns. Source has only these 3 columns, but extra 2 columns they wanted to have. So if you wanted to have, you can say column name, add as a new column, add as a new column. So how to get the data? You can go to date and time functions. You will be able to get date. When you press get a date, you will be able to get insert date. So this you will be able to give it. So when you drag and drop, so derived column is giving you insert date. Okay. Insert date, you can get it. So that you need to map it. Double click on this compulsorily. You have to go here and insert a date. So this we have created in derived column. So you can give any date, but we have given insert a date, and this function will give you today's date and time. So the data will come. So this is okay. But now whenever you update, where is updating happening? Update is happening here. So here we have to modify the script as well. So here, so we have to modify the script. So what we are updating, we're updating name and salary, and we need to update this one as well, update date also, because we're updating is going to be happening here. Update date is equivalent to get date. That's it. Okay. So update date will be available in which table? It is available in table A. Table A is called this one. You can say A dot update date. Clear? So this is one more thing that you need to give, and you can modify this. Copy, and you should be able to go delete this and add that. Clear? So whenever you're updating, this column will get updated. So first, this will be not null column, this will be null column, because sometimes you don't update the record, it has to be null. Otherwise, it has to be it has to be updated, something like that. Okay. So I have to simply now, I don't have any data in the destination table. Now I wanted to save the package and I wanted to execute the package, right? So I want to, run the package. Now, when you go to double click, so you will be able to get 4 rows there. Now, when you execute it, can tell you this is the time when it got inserted. Clear? Now, I'll be able to insert one more row. If you're able to insert one more row, let us say how many rows? Now, 4 rows. 5th row, I will insert. This is Adi, right? So, let me go. I got Adi here. I don't have anything, but let me stop the package and I wanted to execute this. Start means execute. One row is going to go. Now I wanted to stop this. Go to SQL Server. You will be able to see Adi row with a different time. All these are executed at 1643, and it is this one. So I can update Salman and this data. So how to update, we know, right? So you update one row. So Salman Khan, I would like to update Salman Khan to, let us say, some Khan Salman, something like that. I wanted to update the row number 2, right? So row number 2 I'm updating, and row number 3 salary will be updating to 999. So 2 rows I'm updating. Clear? So I go here. Now you check this. You're able to see Rishikesh salary has become 999. So Rishikesh salary is now 3,000, and Khan Salman. Salman is there. So these 2 rows need to get the updated data, updated rows also. Clear? Let me execute this and start. So how many rows got updated? 5 rows are matching, but 2 rows are getting updated. You will be able to simply go and stop this package. Now you go to SQL Server and click on execute this. you will be able to understand these two records got updated. One is Khan Salman data is also updated, and you will come to know when is the recent update. Tomorrow again, if I modify, again it will get updated. So it will have one date where the updates is happened recently. So latest update date will be happening, will be storing in this. So not the previous, because again, a update, this will get modified, this will get changed, right? So latest update date can be there. So this is the data got inserted so and so time. Clear? So many times you will be able to see insert date, update date, or sometimes people will say start date and date also. So you will have these columns like start date and end date. Okay, end date means from this and this. So if you see some AdventureWorks databases, you will be able to see those kind of a columns. Let me go to a product table. You can see those columns. Where is the product table? Let me go and expand these columns. You will be able to see those columns. You know, start date, end date columns. Maybe people will create insert date, update date. So in the data warehousing, people wanted to know when is this data got updated. When is this dot got updated? So in this, it is not there, but many times it will be there. Clear? So dim currency, you will be able to see those kind of things in many places. Okay. So dim employee, you will have start date and date, or start date and date is there. Clear? So like that, many times in the data warehouse, we implement the column names are start date and date, or insert date, or update date. Clear? So that you will come to know when this date, start date means when this got inserted, update means when this got updated, something like this. From when to when this was alive, something like this, we wanted to keep it. Clear? So that is what is called. One more thing I want to implement. People may ask you this kind of things. I wanted to have something extra here. For example, people will say you update. So people will say now it is having 4 columns, right? So we wanted to have some one more column we would like to implement. So you can say alter table. I would like to implement a tax column. Tax column, let us say integer. So I wanted to add one more column here. So people would add, there's no problem. You can add column like this. Now see what happens. You will be able to get a tax column like this. Okay, let me delete all the data. Data I'm deleting, but table will be there. Okay, now table will be there. Now, how to get the tax? Tax is 18% on the salary, or simply I wanted to have, I need to write some default. Tax is 0. Tax is 18%. How do you get? You have to go to this derived column. In this only you can say tax. Okay. You can say tax, and tax is as of now 0 to everybody, or a tax is 18% to everybody. This is a default value. Sometimes we need to give default values like that. And we were giving you insert date and tax column also will be added. Double click on this. You have to go to mappings. You have to go to tax column and map this tax, so that whenever you run any package, you will be able to get some default values, extra data that can be derived from a derived column. So many people, many times people are going to be asking, give me one example. Where did you use your derived column transformation in your project? You can tell them that to get start date and date times in the destination tables, because we don't carry start date and date from the source. That is one thing. Or you wanted to have some default values. Sometimes the people wanted to have. So you can also have, or sometimes you would like to create some expressions, right? Salary into 18 by 100, like that. Formulas also we need to create. So whatever you wanted to derive from the existing data, we will be able to use what? A derived column transformation. So what is a tax? So what is the insert date? Update date, we are not updating. When you update, you will be able to get the data. People would ask you all these interview questions. You have to be ready for it. Clear? So these are the extra things that I want to share it with you. How do you have insert date, update date in the destination table? If you have, how is that you're going to be configuring? right? So definitely you need to use a transformation called insert, derived column transformation. In that I have created few columns. Yeah, am I clear? So all these places, this is very, very important. Yeah, am I clear, guys? So sometimes you may have to trim the data. For example, you have this data, right? So which is the data I'm talking about? You have employee data, John, blah, blah, blah. What I do? I delete this data. I delete the data and I also delete this data. So no data here and there. Okay. Now these are blank. Now what I do, I go here. I wanted to insert the data. Sometimes you will have spaces here. You have a spaces here. You have a spaces there. You have a space here. Something like that. You have a spaces, right? When you have a spaces here and there, now when you insert the data, now the data will be like this. Data will be, you could see a lot of gaps here and there, right? Have you seen the data? Now when you execute the package, you will be able to see all the gaps and insert and everything there. So you will be able to see a lot of blank values and everything there. So how do you remove those blank values is the question. So you will be able to get John. So you will have some gap. You can copy this data. You will come to know there is a gap. Now you see there is a gap here. But when you copy this, there is no gap here. So when you go and copy this, there is no gap here. But when you copy this, Control C, and when you go and copy, you will be able to get a gap. So how do you remove these gaps and everything is the interview question. So which transformation are going to be using? So we need to use trim the data. So how to trim the data? Trimming purpose also, we have to go and in the source, after reading from the source, normally we use derived column only. We use derived column. In this, what we do, we get the column. So drag and drop this column. So we are going to be replacing name. But what is it we're going to be doing? We are going to be doing a function called ltrim, rtrim, or simply trim. So there is a function called trim, right? In that trim, we are going to be giving a column name like this and close the bracket, press enter. Clear? So the data will get trimmed, or you can simply say, you can write trim, open the bracket. You can drag and drop the name here and close the bracket, press enter. Clear? So if you wanted to trim the data, now you go double click on this. Now you can say trim employee name. So if you wanted to trim, which transformation you're going to be using? So derived column, you can see the fx means fx, it is a derived column transformation. So for the trimming purpose, we have to use a function from the string. So there is a trim, ltrim, rtrim. So trim means both sides it's going to be trimming. Now let me show you this data again, right? So let me go to delete. I don't want to delete this data. I want to delete this data. Remove this. Remove this. I have the data. So here there is spaces and everything, but I wanted to trim the data. How do you trim the data? Trimming purpose, we're going to use derived column transformation. Now you stop this, you go back and execute it. Now when you take the John and copy, try to go there and paste it, you will not have any issues. But when you take the same John and try to go and paste it, you will be able to see a lot of spaces. Have you seen this? Now all the trimming, any column, which column you would like to trim, the column you can simply drag and drop. For example, tomorrow employee ID also I would like to trim. You have to say replace as this and you need to say trim. Okay, trim, open the bracket. You have to close the bracket and press enter. So I cannot trim because it is a number. Number data cannot be trimmed. Only textual data can be trimmed. You can just simply right click on this. You can delete this. So any textual data, you will be able to trim nicely. So all of them, you will be able to perform with the help of a derived column transformation. Clear? So we discussed how to use, incremental loading, how to trim the data, how to get the default values, how to add, insert, update values, and everything we discussed. And the lookup transformation is very, very useful to perform the incremental loading. So tomorrow when we meet, I am going to be talking about one more transformation called SCD, slowly changing dimension transformation. It is also very, very interesting. And we will discuss about the complete details about SCD, slowly changing dimension. So what is the purpose of slowly changing dimension? Where it is, go to common. You will be able to find out slowly changing dimension transformation. So what is the purpose? To perform the incremental loading, right? What is incremental loading? You know already, right? So that is what we'll implement. Today we had seen lookup. Tomorrow we'll implement with this. And day after tomorrow, we will try to use merge statement of SQL Server. So in a SQL Server, there is a merge. SSIS also there is a merge, but I'm talking about SQL Server merge. Tomorrow we'll talk about it. So a lot of other things also we'll discuss one by one. And this is a compulsory interview question. Tell me, how did you load your dimension tables? Normally, incremental loading will be done for the dimension tables, not for the factor tables. So why? I would have explained in the data warehousing concept, but I will also explain if you need it. So incremental loading can be performed only to the dimension tables, not to the factor table. What is a factor table? Sales table is a factor table. What is a dimension table? Dimension geography, dimension customer, dimension date, dimension product, dimension category, dimension employee, dimension gender. All this data is called as a dimensional data. So incremental loading will be done for the dimensional data. Remember this point. We don't do the incremental loading for the sales data or the transactional data or the factor data. We always do the full loading for the factor data, incremental loading only for the dimensional data. Why? I would have explained this in data warehousing. If not, I will be explaining in the future classes as well. Sure. There is an interview question. How do you load the data into the data warehouse? How do you load the data into the data warehouse is an interview question. Which tables you're going to be loading first? That is also one more interview question. What does data warehouse contains? So this is also one more interview question. If the time permits, you can also watch data warehousing videos from today, because almost we came to the end of SSIS, right? We have another some 6 to 7 classes are pending. So you can also take data warehousing. You can also watch each and everything clearly, guys. Okay. You ask 991 Avinash number, you know, right? So you can reach out this guy so that you will be able to get the data warehousing videos. Will be for free for you. You will be able to access them and go in the portal. If you wanted to get it, call 991 991 9462 Avinash number. You can just call them.